Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm sure there'll be several joining throughout. Welcome. My name is Michelle Keenan, and I'm part of the InView team. And today we're going to talk about how to create wall collections in Room View. And if you were with us last week for the live demo, we talked about how to create wall collections on your price list, and then how to find them in a client gallery in an IPS session. So we're just going to kind of, continue that discussion on how to do that in utilizing Room View today. So here we go. Couple of things. If you have any questions, feel free to just drop them in the chat. I'll try to check it throughout and then pause and ask some questions as well during some of the pausing moments. And then we'll talk about some of the upcoming things that we have going on with InView. And I'm going to share my screen. So if you do have an InView account and you want to open that up and follow along, go ahead and go to your gallery manager and open up an existing IPS session. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody hear me okay? I would assume so. I haven't heard anything different, but if so, speak up. And I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay. All right, you should see the gallery manager here. And so I'm going to open up an IPS session, because that is what I'm going to show you first. So you should already have wall collections built into your price list. And if you haven't, then I can cover that a little bit at the end. Otherwise, you're going to go ahead and start the sales session. And we're going to begin the sale at this time. Choose your client. And I'm going to utilize single view at this time, just because that's an easier display option. But for those of you using dual view, it keeps it very clean and crisp when you're doing a sales session in person or remotely. All right, so I'm going to begin the sales session, and we're going to get into the thumbnail view here. So once you've created wall collections on your price list, so it will show up in this store. So if I click on the cart here, you will see here I have a category called wall collections. And we have a few of these built out. So any that you have built on your price list, it should be listed here as long as you're including it on that specific price list. So that's where you will find those. And so if you are, let's just say you're going through and you've already favorited several images for your client and you have them organized down here in the favorites folder. So if you know that they are wanting some wall art of specific images, you can select from this folder and you can multi-select these images. Click on the cart and it'll take you directly to the store, and you can choose wall collections. And it'll build out those images for you already. And so if you've made some adjustments and you're good with that, you can just click on Room View right here. This will be located right in this section underneath the product collection. So here it is in a room. So you can use InView's rooms that are stock images, or you can upload your own stock images, but also more importantly, you can upload your client's own room in their home so they can see what those images would look like as art on their walls. Let me just make sure there's no chats here. Questions. Any questions where to find wall collections and Room View on your IPS session? No. Okay. So here you can add a frame. So you can add it to an individual, but if you see here, it says apply to all items on the wall. If you click that little square, it will apply them to all of those framed items, and you can move it around. You can also change the matte color and size. So if you wanted to add a little bit more, and then it will adjust to the overall size and dimensions. And it looks like we do have a question. Okay, so a couple actually. And it says, how do you get the room size correct so that the wall, okay, projections show at the correct sizes? So this was covered in our last week's live demo. So when you're creating your wall collections, it takes the dimensions of the size and the overall space between when you design it. So it gives you those dimensions. So if you look here up the top, it says dimensions 81 by 21. So it does that measurements and calculation for you. And Kelly, does that help answer your question? And I can swing back around and cover that towards the end if that's okay. John
really
has a question. What size format do you recommend for client upload of their room? So we have, obviously, the higher size file, the better resolution. We have a feature called Room View Direct that sends the information directly to your client, and they can use their mobile device, their smartphone, to take the picture and send it immediately right back. And let's see if I have one in here, John, I can show you. Give me just 1 second here. I'm going to change the room. It's hidden down here. There we go.
Can I ask a question?
All right, so let's see if I have one, just a sample here. I do not. I don't have one of those loaded in here, but I can show you one in another event here pretty soon. So I hope that answers your question, John. Okay. Kelly's asking another question. We spoke about the size of the wall portraits and spacing between. I'm asking about the size of the room, the bed, and the headboard. Gotcha. So what it does is these rooms have already been formatted and for specific sizes. So for example, the headboard or the size images. Let me close this out for just a second so I can get here and show you. So right here, if I was to change the room, it automatically resizes to fit that specific room because it's already been calibrated. And typically when you load a room or your client's room, there's a couple of ways to calculate that. Is you can do an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on the wall. And that will get your correct dimensions and size and for that specific room, or you can take an object in that room and size it that way. So I'm just going to go back to that if you don't mind. I'm going to show you. So if I change the room and I upload a room, we give you a couple different options. Like I was sharing with you, you can use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Or you can measure an object in the room, and it gives you these instructions so that it will calibrate for you to that specific room in your client's home or your stock images. So I hope that helps. And if you know that you have a king size bed headboard, you can estimate those measurements. People have done windows, they've done vents, light fixtures, light switches, that type of thing, because they're pretty standard sizes depending on what object you're measuring. But the easiest route is to just simply put an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on the wall. So I hope that helps, Kelly, and I'm happy to visit with you offline too. So we're going to move on here to room view and wall collections. So if you were to need to move these around, you can ungroup these. And so you can move individuals or you can group them back and they'll go back to the right sizes for you. All right. And so let me go and I want to show you how to create a wall collection on the fly using room view. So here, I'm gonna actually save this for later. And if you look down here, it says save for later. So I can design multiple rooms with different images or same images. So maybe they're trying to decide between the two rooms, or they have different set of images for multiple rooms. So if you noticed, I used multi-select to select the images that I wanted. So I'm gonna go in here to all images again. And let's just say that they're not really sure what images they want. So I'm just gonna, hold on, let me take off multi-select. So I'm just gonna select the cart, and this image, I'm gonna say, well, they think maybe an 8x10 is big enough for that wall. And they're not sure that they want a collection yet. When you click room view, it shows this size here, but you can say, you know what, instead, why don't we do a different size? And then you can simply add individual images. So you can add multiple sizes. And then again, you can choose from their favorites, their wall art, and put a frame on it. So you can build those out. So they have an example of what that might look like if you don't have those built out, or maybe it's a special size that they're looking at, or an image that doesn't necessarily fit the mold of what you've already created. I normally wouldn't put all these images together in a collage, but there's an example. So, and if you wanted to, you could just click and drag, and this will allow you to move those around. So that's how you build a wall collection on the fly in an IPS session. So does anybody have any questions on that specific topic? Check the chats here. Okay, doesn't look like it. So we're going to move on. And let me go back. I'm going to go ahead and show you in the wall collection on the price list just to cover that quickly, and then we'll move on to what a client has the capabilities of doing in a client gallery with wall collections. Does anybody have any questions while we're right here in room view? The collections right here, you can share those. So if you have clients, this might be a feature that you guys have heard about, but you can text share this to maybe a family member that was unable to attend the IPS session, and they wanted to share it with the decision maker. They have that ability as well. So it sends this specific room view to that client. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to the cart. And so you view the cart, and it shows you what you've created and the items in the cart. So if you wanted to add an additional one, you can. All right, so I'm going to go back to the admin, and I want to go ahead and go into the price list. So if you want to follow along, you can, and go to your admin and open up your client galleries manager and go to price list manager. And I'll just show you quickly what that looks like on the price list. As soon as that opens up. All right, so when I'm scrolling down, I'm going to find my wall collection category, and here it is. So you can create and add a wall collection here, or you can edit an existing one. So I'm just going to edit this so that you can see what that. So I've added multiple sizes here. It shows me the dimension. It gives you the lab cost if you're utilizing InView's lab, and then the total price. And so you could make adjustments here, but this gives you the options to make sure that the alignment is correct. So if you move them around, you can notice it'll snap and keep them the same distance apart. Or if you wanted to add additional space, you can do that. And I know we're jumping around, but I just want to make sure you kind of get the full view. So now I'm going to take you away from the price list and we are going to go back to the gallery manager. And I just want to touch base on the room view direct. And you can try this yourself right now. Go ahead and open up an event. And that should be loading. All right, so edit either the IPS or the client gallery, it's whichever you prefer. And you're gonna go into the culling, actually no, the selling option, room view. So click on room view setting. And underneath the room view setting, you'll see once that's toggled on, we do have a room view direct. Let me toggle it off so that you can see that. Toggle it on room view direct right here and follow along. So you can text your client or email them. And I'm just going to do this myself so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to send this to myself and I'm going to get a text. And in this text, it says, take a photo of your rooms to view in-view images as true-sized wall decor in your photo gallery. And it gives you a link to click on. Now, if it was your studio, obviously it would market your studio. So I'm going to open the link and it gives me instructions on what I need to do next. What I need to do next is enter my email address. Okay. So I've got that saved and I'm going to take a picture of a wall and I'll just do just a wall that I have. So you'll tap and take the photo. Hopefully you guys are following along okay. I'm going to say use this photo. And hit upload and it'll upload and you're going to see that here very shortly in this section of room view. So I've done that and it was successfully delivered. So I'm going to go to room view and I click on the room view direct and now the image that I uploaded is there. So if I would have, so you have the control on how to calibrate the room that your client sends you. So I'm going to go ahead and click and hit calibrate. So right here, it has this specific option. So if it was an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, then I would calibrate the sheet of paper just like this. Otherwise, if it's an object in the room, you can say how many inches this is. So you can use your ruler and do it that way and add specific inches in there. And then hit next step. And then it allows you to fine tune it, whether it's like a window seal or be it's you know, a pillow or a coffee table or a sideboard or again the bed frame or the headboard. All right, I'm going to save that. And once that's in there, it's going to show up in your client's room. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where that shows up. And it's specific to an email address. So you want to make sure that it's your client's email address that you're using for that room to show up. Begin the sale. So now I'm going to open up an image, select a size, room view, and I'm going to change the room. So now my room should show up that my client had added. So then I can put it in there and put a frame on it. All right. Are there any questions about that specific topic? All right. Okay, so I'm going to show you wall collections in a client gallery, which is very similar to a IPS session. It's just your client has the ability to do that on their own. So I am going to show you what the end client in a client gallery. All right. Let me make sure that I'm still sharing the same browser here. Can you guys still see my screen? See what I'm sharing? Okay. All right. So it looks like everybody's, are you still there as far as, okay, good. I just want to make sure you see the same screen as me. All right. So when a client comes in, they can go to shop this store and choose wall collections. They can choose a, collection of their choice to order. And then they can simply add their images. And when they add their images, they can go to their favorites folders. So this is very similar to the IPS session. They can create favorites folders, or they could just simply go to all of their images and choose from all of their images. So you could just go in and select each of those images. They can go in and make sure that the crop is right, save it, add another image, or they can use multi-select like I showed you previously. Let's look at wall art, wall images. So they would do this same process. And then they can select a room view right here. And again, it will go on the wall, and they can put a frame on if they want. And they can change their rooms, and they can upload their own room right there. If they did not do room view direct, they can simply follow those instructions and upload their own room right then and there. And see, if you look here, these are probably too big for this specific room. So you can change the sizes of the images. Oh. It will not let you change the size if it's a preset wall collection. So you can ungroup if you would like. Make sure there's no questions. Okay. So we'll change this room. So it would be appropriate for those size images, or you can build another. If you ungroup them, you can move them closer together if there wasn't enough space on that wall. Okay, and so then they can add that to the cart, and they can also build a wall collection on the fly as well, like I showed you in an IPS session. But those are the ways that you would utilize room view and wall collections. Does anybody have additional images, even if it's a little bit off the specific topic? I'm happy to help. Kelly, I hope that I was able to answer your question with how to calibrate those specific rooms. And John, your question as far as uploading their client's room, just let me know. If not, we'll move forward. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my room unless anybody has any questions or want to see anything. It's not that hard. I can open it back up. So how, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask a couple questions of you, but it looks like John has another question. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera back on. John's question, is it best for customers to upload horizontal or vertical, or does it matter? It really doesn't matter. I personally typically do it horizontal or suggest it. That way you're getting a little bit more of the fuller view of the room. And it really just depends on the space that they're trying to, add wall decor to. So I advise you to kind of test it out yourself, maybe in your home or in your studio or with some friends and family, and just get a feel for it and utilize that room view direct. It's pretty cool and it works very well. We talked about that a little while ago in a live demo. So it seems to be working really well. So how many of you that are on this call are currently utilizing room view today, using wall collections, whether you have them preset on your price list or you build them as on the fly during a session or in the client gallery? Do any of you do that currently? Well, if you're not, you should. And I'm happy to help with that. All right. So a couple of things that I wanted to touch base with. We have some upcoming events that I wanted to share with you. We have, and I'll put those in the chats. And we have Glitch. For those of you who haven't heard about Glitch, it's Glitch Wedding. So this is led by Sal Sincata team. I'm going to put this in the chat so you guys can take a quick look. And there's links to those. And then we also will be at Texas School Trade Show here in April as well. So Glitch and Texas School are all the month of April. And then we have saved the date for Project Obscura, and that's June 1st and 2nd, and it's going to be in Kansas City. And then we are also doing a wedding boot camp in July in Kansas City with Meredith Reinkart. So you're going to learn from the very first phone call clear to delivering the portraits. So we'll have, we're going to do that at a winery. It's going to be really beautiful, a lot of fun and lots of good content. So those are some of the upcoming things that we have. And then again, our private Facebook group, you can always find some good information and what's coming next with our live demos. And again, I appreciate you joining us. We would love to hear what you want to learn more about as we're developing the live demos on a weekly basis. We always want to know what's working for you and what you want to know more about so that we can provide that for you. All right. So does anyone have any questions before we close?
Yeah, can I ask one?
If not, I'm so happy that you all joined, and I hope that we were able to give you the information you needed to start utilizing room view in your sales sessions or providing your client that service. And until then, we'll see you next time. Please let me know if you need anything. Okay, really quick before we close, Kelly wanted to know how to see the recordings. So if you are an InView user and you have an account with us, you'll be able to go to the YouTube channel in the admin area. You can always find them there. In addition to that, we repost a replay in our private Facebook group. The private Facebook group is called Your InView Space. Please join. We would love to have you. There's, again, lots of opportunities to see some of the past live demo recordings, upcoming events, and also just to share, successes and failures with your peers and get some ideas. It's always helpful. So that's how you'll see that. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. It was nice to get to see all these names on here, and you have a great afternoon. Take care.